You are lying awake at 2 a.m., mapping out a conversation that may never happen. Your brain is stuck on a loop, agonizing over a single, ambiguous text message you received 6 hours ago. It is easy to assume this is just a bad habit or a sign of a nervous disposition, a simple lack of mental discipline. Research into the overthinking brain suggests a different reality. This mental exhaustion stems from high intelligence and deep emotional awareness. You possess a mind that is exceptionally good at pattern recognition. The problem is that your internal alarm system never receives the signal to stop. This creates a frustrating paradox. Why does an advanced, brilliant brain trap its owner in endless loops, making the simplest everyday choices feel like a high-stakes crisis? Understanding how this intelligence effectively weaponizes itself is the first step toward regaining control and finally quieting the internal noise. To see the trap in action, we have to look at what happens when you try to rest. When your focus on the outside world fades, your brain's default mode network fires up. In overthinkers, this network runs loudly and constantly. It stays locked in a high-speed exchange with the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for complex planning, even when there is no actual problem to solve. This hypervigilance often acts as a neurological fossil of a childhood survival strategy. If you grew up in an unpredictable environment, your young brain learned that safety depended on your ability to anticipate every possible shift in mood or outcome before it happened. Psychologists call this endless looping rumination. It is a state where you cycle through the same thoughts without reaching a resolution, yet your brain manages to trick you into feeling like you are actually being productive. This chart shows the chemical mechanism of that trick. Your brain is wired to release dopamine during problem solving. This means you receive a small chemical reward just for analyzing a situation, which reinforces the loop even if you never find a solution. You are living with a perfectly functioning survival engine that is running an outdated program, one that rewards anxiety by disguising it as progress. This chemical reinforcement is why simply telling yourself to stop thinking is a doomed strategy. This is illustrated by the white bear experiment. Psychology shows that the act of forcefully suppressing a thought creates a rebound effect. The more energy you use to push the thought away, the more aggressively it returns. For the highly intelligent, high cognitive empathy adds another layer of complexity. You are so aware of how your words will be received that you feel forced to simulate every possible social reaction before you even speak. This empathy often triggers loss aversion, an intense fear of making a mistake or facing regret. You find yourself searching for a completely risk-free decision that doesn't actually exist. When you see too many variables and fear every potential negative outcome, you hit analysis paralysis. You freeze, unable to make even the most mundane choice because your brain is searching for an optimal path that isn't there. Intelligence, in this context, turns a simple decision into an unwinnable chess game against yourself. This constant mental simulation drains your energy and ruins your sleep. You begin treating minor social cues, like a slightly short text or an ambiguous facial expression, as if they were genuine biological threats. You cannot think your way out of this. Achieving a perfectly silent mind is an unrealistic goal for an active brain. The objective is to change how you interact with the noise. Therapists use a practice called Cognitive Defusion. As this diagram suggests, you create a boundary between yourself and your thoughts. You observe the mental chatter as a detached bystander, rather than getting pulled into the emotional loop. To break analysis paralysis, you must apply the 80% rule. Accept that an 80% certain solution is enough to take action. This prevents you from wasting massive amounts of energy on the final 20%, the zone where overthinking and diminishing returns live. Your mind learned to stay alert to keep you safe. Now, by setting these boundaries and accepting good enough results, you can finally teach that mind that the danger has passed, and it is safe enough to rest.